All right, guys. So obviously I'm not there. Emmett's feeling worse than he was earlier yesterday or today. I guess it's 11 o'clock at night. So I don't know what day it is. Anyways, we're gonna go over 1 through 20 real quick. Make sure you're checking them as you go, and our test still is tomorrow. All right. So number 1, there is nothing between the 9 and the p, so that's multiplication. So I'm going to divide by 9. And I'm dividing by a positive 9, so I'm not flipping my sign. All right, on number 2, though, this one, I'm dividing by negative 2.5 because there's no operation in between the negative 2.5 and d. And I am going to flip my sign. And I'm flipping my sign because I am dividing by a negative 2.5. Okay, so that right there, that's the only difference between solving an equation and solving an inequality, is that if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, the sign will flip. And you can just use your calculator there. My child's miserable. All right, number 3. This is right here, this is division. So the opposite is to multiply. So 2 divided by 2 cancels out. I don't flip my sign because I multiply by positive 2, and negative 0.75 times 2 is negative 1.5. All right, number 4. This is a minus 15, so I'm going to add 15. So minus 15 plus 15 cancels out. Negative 20 plus 15 is negative 5. All right, on number 5, if you struggle with ones like this, you can make this like a 1y. You don't have to, but you can. But this right here, I need to get rid of this 18 to get the y by itself. That's positive 18, so I'm going to subtract 18. So 18 minus 18 cancels out, and negative 7 minus 18 is negative 25. All right, on number 6, that's a plus 3/4. So I'm going to subtract the 3/4. So h is less than, and then if you want to use a calculator, you can. But if not, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So that's 9/4 minus 3/4, which is 6/4, which is 3/2, which is 1 and 1/2. That's the same thing. Okay, so moving along here, which we should have checked a lot of these yesterday. And you can go back and watch this video if you need to. All right, on number 7, this is a 2-step. So I'm going to add 11 first, because I always undo the addition or the subtraction first. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3. Oh, Miss Wilson's dividing by a negative, so I'm flipping my sign. And 56 divided by negative 3, you can leave it as 56 over negative 3. You could make that negative 18 and 2/3, but negative 18.6 repeating is not a good answer because we don't do repeating decimals as answers. All right, number 8. This is like a negative 1x, and that's very important to know that, because if there's no number in front of a variable, it's a 1. And since it's minus 1x, I've got to make sure that that x gets by itself. So I always move the number first because I'm always trying to isolate the x term. It's a positive 10, so I'm going to subtract 10. So 10 minus 10 is gone. So that's negative 1x is less than or equal to 25. And then I'll divide by negative 1. Oh, I divided by a negative. I'm flipping that sign. All right, number 9. I undo addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to add the 8. So that's x over 2 is greater than or equal to 18 plus 8. That's 26. I get rid of the divide by 2 by multiplying by 2. So x is greater than or equal to 52. All right, number 10. I undo the subtraction, so I'm going to add 6. So that's 2x is greater than 36. And remember how I talked about how leaving the x on the side that it started on. So that's why I'm leaving the x on that right side. Divide by 2, and x is greater than 18. All right, number 11. I undo addition first, so I'm going to subtract that 12. So that's 1.5x is less than 6. And then I'll divide by 1.5. And I get 4. So use that calculator to back yourself up. All right, number 12 here. I need to undo the addition or subtraction first. Some people want to undo that 2 first, but that's a divide by 2, and I undo multiplication and division second. So I'm going to move that positive 6, so I'm going to subtract 6. So 6 minus 6 is gone. So I drop down the x over 2. 16 minus 6 is 10. And then to get rid of that divide by 2, I'm going to multiply by 2. So I get 20. Sorry, guys. He's miserable. His poor little feet are all blistered. He can't get any rest. All right, so I'm scrolling down here, moving. Does not have a line under it, it's open. If it does have the line, then it's solid. If it eats the x, you always go to the right. If it eats the number, you always go to the left, because if it eats x, it wants something bigger than that number. But if it eats the number, then that means that number was enough. So it needs something smaller. So 4.5 is going to go in the middle. I add 1 to get 5.5 on the right. I subtract 1 to get 3.5 on the left. So all you have to do is put your 3 numbers on there. This is going to be an open circle, and it's eating the number. So that's saying the number is big enough. So I need numbers that are smaller. So x is less than 4.5. All right, this one, negative 9 in the middle. I subtract 1 on the left. I add 1 on the right. This is a solid circle, and it's eating the number again. So it's saying x is less than or equal to negative 9, so I go to the left. All right, I had lots of questions about this one. So I just add and subtract on the numerator. So I add 4 plus 1, so that makes 5/5, which is the same thing as 1. This one, 4 minus 1, that's 3/5. And that's good enough. Open circle, and it's eating the number again. So x is less, so it goes to the left. All right, number 16, negative 4.5. I subtract 1 on the left, and I add 1 on the right. So I do an open circle on this one, and this time it's eating the x, so it's wanting something bigger, so I go to the right. All right, on 17, negative 9, I subtract 1 to the left and add 1 to the right. Open circle on the x, and this one's eating the number. So that's saying the number is big enough, so I need numbers that are smaller. And then 18, here's 12, 13, and 11. Solid on the 12, and it's eating the x, so it's saying x is greater, so I go to the right. All right, here goes our last 2. Okay, so they don't say to solve, but I went ahead and solved them just to get us some extra practice here on 19 and 20. So remember with word problems, you read the problem once, you go to the question, you find your variable, and then you go back, underline your numbers, circle operations. So it says Jasmine has a budget of $600 to spend on home renovation. She will spend $175 on a new sink and the remainder on countertops. The countertops cost $35 per square foot. What is the maximum number of square feet Jasmine can purchase? What is the what? The maximum square feet. So I'm going to call X my square feet. Then I go back and read it. Jasmine has a budget of $600. She spends $175 on the sink, and countertops cost $35 per square foot. Oh, look, square foot. That's what we just said X was. And per means multiplication. So it's 35X. So she's got her countertops, and it says she also is spending $175 on a sink. So plus 175. So the countertops plus the sink. And it says her budget is $600. So when you have a budget, that means you want to spend that much, or you want to spend below that much for your budget. Okay, and then to solve that, I'm just going to solve it super quick. So I subtract the 175. So that makes 425, divide by 35. And I get x is less than or equal to, let me use my little calculator here. So 425 divided by 35, I get like 12.14, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to round that down to 12 because I don't want to go over my $600. If I rounded that up to 13, it would push me over 600. All right, last one here. So it says Hayden earns $9.50 per hour as a lifeguard. He earns a bonus of $50 for taking a training course. How many hours must he work to earn at least 300? How many hours? So X is hours. Go back. He earns $9.50 per hour. Oh, there's my hour. As a lifeguard, he earns a bonus of 50 and he wants to earn at least 300. So we said per is multiplication. So 950 X, and he gets $50. So his hourly rate plus the $50, and he wants to earn at least 300. So at least 300, it means 300 or more. And then I solve that. I subtract 50. And then I'll divide by 950. And that'll get me, let's see here, let me use that calculator. I think it's like 26 something. So 250 divided by 950, 26.315, etc. But I want to get at least 300. So I don't want to round it down because that's going to put me below 300. So I'm going to round that up to 27. So he has to work at least 27 hours to get to at least $300. So now you're going to finish 21 through 26. When you get done with that, I'll have the answers posted for that as well. And then you can work on the IXL practice that I put in yesterday's folder. So we shouldn't have any downtime today. There's plenty for us to do. And I will be back tomorrow for our test. Adios.